My name is Michael Giansiracusa, and I hate when people use absolutes.
Welcome to Grumble Goat. My name is Matt Labodka, and this is a show about all the small things that drive me insane. Let's grumble.
You know what I really hate about absolutes is that they're never correct. Almost never correct. Like, let's face it, 999,999 out of a million is a lot. It's a lot of times. But you know what? It's not always. Never, you always, or you never, or you're the best, or the worst, or there is nothing worse than blank. Oh, there's nothing worse than getting a hair in your mouth. Now, frankly, hairs in the mouth suck, but there's nothing worse than getting a hair in your mouth? Really? Being constipated is worse. But you know what? That's just me. Any of those absolutes, they frustrate me so much. Like, it never conveys, just did it. It almost never conveys what you mean to. I know that we feel our perspectives are absolute. I feel like you never, or I feel like you are the worst. It undermines your position. Frankly, you're not actually trying to convey a point. You're trying to dramatize your point. You're trying to make a grandiose statement. Like, somewhere in the world, there is the worst doctor, and they have an appointment at 9 a.m. tomorrow with someone. But you know what? Maybe they're only the worst doctor tomorrow. What about the next day? Maybe they cure someone. Who knows? It's not a constant. I consider myself a scientist. I write code, and code makes sense. But code can be finite. Math can be finite most of the time, except when it's not. So I have heard the phrase, I never got that email from you, only to search through their email and find my email. I never received that email. I definitely never received that email. Gotta add that extra emphasis. And then I find that email in your email box, and I just get so mad that I usually have to walk out of the room. We play this little game with our daughter where we ask her what her favorite is. Favorite is another one of these absolutes. It's a thing that's supposed to be static. Oh, my favorite color is blue. Humans are not consistent creatures. We are warbly at best. But you know what she says? All of them. It's my favorite answer to the favorite question. An absolute choice. My name is Michael Giansiracusa, and I hate when people use absolutes. And that's the grumble.
Grumble, 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 grumble.
What?
Grumble, 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 grumble. What's got your goat?
For the latter half of the show, we'll bring in my better half, Veronique, for an unpretentious look and a segment we call
What's got your goat?
Welcome to another Grumble Goat on the road.
On the road, Myrtle Beach
We're in
style.
Myrtle Beach today.
Oh my gosh. Well, we've been here for a couple days.
What a crazy, insane vacation it's been. We're broadcasting from outside of the Grumble Goat studios tonight.
Yes.
We're in South Carolina.
That's right.
And we have with us Michael Giansiracusa.
That's
Michael,
right.
welcome to the podcast.
Hi there.
Yeah.
Hey.
How are you? You've been vacationing with us.
It's been a crazy week.
It has. You have a little one, so it's a little more hectic for you.
She's a little crazy.
Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
If she's half as crazy as I was, she'll... Actually, I can't say that.
Nope. Don't dig yourself into liability here. Like, the police might be listening in on this one.
She is the most adorable little child.
She is adorable.
Yes.
Yeah, an amazing child. Anyway, we're having an amazing vacation down here, and it happens to be a rainy day, so what better to do than to sit in the studio?
That's right, and have a grumble.
Michael, how's life these days? We're coming out of the pandemic, and you were able to keep working during the pandemic. You work from home.
Yep, 9 to 5.
You work in computer sciences.
Yeah, 9 to 5 every day this entire pandemic. Well, strangely enough, I actually work more than I used to, because when I was in the office, I would go talk to my coworker, and it ends up into like an hour-long conversation.
And there's the coffee pot.
And there's the hour-long lunch breaks, and so I actually feel compelled to work more than I did in the office, which is kind of weird. I've started to take a step back in the last few months.
Now, and
Michael,
the screen of your work, it looks like the Matrix.
Yeah, you showed me your screen, and it's just the Matrix going by. So tell us, are we living in a giant battery?
Are we in the Matrix right now? Did you take the green pill or the blue pill? Or any pill?
I haven't taken any pills, but I don't think it matters because we could still be in the Matrix anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how would you know?
We haven't
So
woken
you're
up
saying
yet.
work is futile and it's a waste of time and our life is meaningless.
Actually, I think
No.
we're waking up right now.
No. Work is definitely futile, but you make your own meaning.
Oh,
Right.
You
yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
like if you don't have any meaning, then what's the point?
Or you make your own children.
Well, you can do both.
Yes, everyone can do that.
Oh, can they?
They can make
Yeah.
their own children. Well, and
Interesting.
actually, no.
How does one go about this?
Sexy time.
Yeah. So getting back to the Matrix theme,
Okay.
how would you know?
How would you know if you're in the Matrix?
Yeah, like, do you ever feel like 100% confident of like something, like anything? Like,
Well, I
give me
do-
an example of something you're 100% confident of.
Well, I don't know. I do think this world is somewhat of an illusion.
There's this moment in the Matrix where Neo sees a cat and then he looks back and sees the exact same cat and he says, ooh, deja vu. And then Trinity says, was it deja vu or was it the same cat? And I think about that moment a lot. Every time I experience a moment that I'm like, this feels too familiar, I feel like I'm living in the Matrix.
You don't just feel like you have deja vu?
But how would you know? Here's the thing I keep coming back to. Like, are you ever 100% sure of anything?
No.
Why? No, there are things that I'm 100% sure
Give
of.
me an example.
I was 100% sure that Trump would not win the election in 2016.
I know. Yeah, he was 100% sure, and I was almost positive he was going to win.
I was 100% sure Trump would not win in 2016.
I was afraid. I was very afraid.
You're going right toward. So, like, because we were getting toward the point of like everything is an illusion, kind of,
Yes.
right? Your experience of this reality is so warped by your perspective and your experiences that it's
And
hard to really be sure of anything. Like, this is white.
Yes.
This table is white,
table's white.
but we could be experiencing the color white differently. And so, like, I could see something very different than what you see, but
I
we've both
know.
been conditioned to call this
It's
white.
white. It's very
It's always
fascinating.
boggled my mind that we all can point to a color and name it the same thing.
I've thought about
but
this
how
a
do we
lot.
know how our brains interpret
Yes.
orange?
Well, is it when people create colors, then you would be able to get the right color?
But you
'Cause
can't
then
put a
every
color into a person's brain.
No.
So
Well,
if you
that's why
create a-
people don't realize that they're colorblind.
Exactly.
Because they're so used to seeing grayscale.
That's a good
and
example
they figured
because
it out.
they've learned that this shade of gray is white
What-
and that shade of gray is you know,
Purple. Well, to them, they say, well, these people are calling this shade of gray red. That's what red is to me.
I've had several friends that are colorblind.
Me too.
So the first ones, you're like, oh, I'm going to switch the caps on the smelly markers so that they think they're coloring with the wrong one because it's a different cap.
That is so rude.
That's
I
a
can't
little-
believe
that's a
you
little-
did
that's a
that.
little
But,
cruel.
and then when you know several other colorblind people, you're like, oh, people's brains don't interpret light wavelengths the same way. So that throws into question, is anybody seeing red the same way?
Is anybody seeing red the same way? Do you think everybody sees things the same?
Wait,
No.
Are you saying I'm not a chiseled jaw, handsome man?
Oh.
You want to trade? I'll trade with you.
Michael, can you prove to me right now that you exist?
No, but see, that's my point. Like,
But we can touch each other.
how come you guys are always so funny?
That's an excellent question, Michael, and I want to delve further into that. Tell us about your experience with us being funny.
Yeah.
Are you always funny?
I think I'm always funny.
Oh my God, this one? Yeah.
Always?
In my day-to-day life,
Well, you think you are, so that
Well,
makes, you know, that's
thing is,
actually helpful.
Michael,
I'm not
let
sure.
me-
I feel like a lot of people laugh at me.
I'm going to pull back. Okay. I'm going to pull back the curtain just a little bit for you, Michael, and tell you that our apartment is full of laughter constantly.
We do laugh a
No,
lot.
I get it. If you think you're always funny, that is fantastic. But I'm getting more at the fact that, like, how do you feel about people using absolutes to describe experiences?
Well, I think they're liars.
Oh,
I don't think that that's right. I don't think that I know I just said that I'm always funny. But I mean, like, when people are so sure of themselves, you're like, there's no way, because you don't want to, like, open your mind to something else.
I love what you're saying because I love when people say, I would never do that.
Right.
And I'm like,
I've
we've
also
all
said
been in
that
weird
too.
situations.
Yeah, you don't know how you're going to react in the moment.
Yeah, you make mistakes. That's part of being alive.
And like, I get
I
that people
know.
need to accentuate things sometimes to make a point, but like, there is nothing worse than getting a hair in your mouth.
Oh, I know.
Except that
no,
I can
there are
think
things
of
worse
a
than that.
lot of things worse than
Yeah.
getting a hair in
I
your
don't know.
mouth.
It gets like really dry in there, and then you like can't get it out, and you're like, nah, nah, nah. It's like very strange and weird. I don't like it.
childhood cancer.
I'm not
Well,
worried about
that's
hair in my mouth.
definitely
See?
worse.
Yeah. No, I get the fact that we make points, you know, but like, it's a grandiose statement to make your perspective seem really important right now.
Yeah. We work in food service, and one thing about people's perspective that blows my mind is when, like, if they request one small thing and it doesn't come out their way, they get really offended as if the universe has conspired to make their evening a little bit worse, and they react as if it's the worst thing ever.
That it was, on
when
purpose.
really, in the grand scheme of the clockwork machine that is a restaurant,
It's unfortunate that that happened to be your dish. And
But
we
we don't
apologize
actually
for that.
care about you.
Well, right.
you're one of the
Piece of the puzzle.
tiny little cogs in the machine.
Yeah.
And like
And the liquid
caramel.
pods.
Sorry?
And the liquid pods of the Matrix.
Oh, now we're going back
In
to
the liquid
Matrix.
pods. You're talking about the people themselves.
Yeah.
Who are hooked in are still part
Yeah.
of the liquid pods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really hope I'm not in a liquid pod.
I don't think we are.
The thing about the
I don't
Matrix,
think so
though,
either, but how do I know?
I don't know. That's where aliens come in.
Anytime you try and pin something down to an absolute, it's almost always inherently false. I get mad less when I do it than other people because I notice it less often.
When you say that you don't do something and then you catch yourself doing it, it's like a rage anger that you're like, I'm doing that thing that I don't like to do.
What kind
Like
of
when
thing?
When I step on people's heels. I don't like it when people step on my heels because they're not giving
everybody
space.
knows it's the worst to get your heels
Yes,
stepped on.
exactly.
And you do the stepping on
And
the heels.
I have stepped on their heels, and then I'm like, I'm sorry. I just like can't. I literally, it's actually no, literally is not.
Speaking of absolutes, hilarious.
See? I told you, we all do it. We don't realize it. And it makes me mad that it's part of my like dialect.
Only Sith speak in absolutes. If you're going to step on somebody's heel, if you're walking fast,
Yes.
you might as well just shove them by the
I
shoulder
know.
out of
Just
the way.
push them out of the way.
Same offense.
I really don't know
like,
why. I
you don't have to apologize because once you step on their heel, you are their worst enemy.
Yes.
Absolute.
Absolute words.
Yeah, as soon as you use an absolute word, it makes me not.
Do you no longer respect those people?
No, because I totally do it too.
We all do it, right? We all do a lot of things that
do
we
it.
complain about. Oh my gosh, we can't
do
get away
it.
from it. It's the
literally
language.
so impossible not to do.
I studied diction, and so I'm a huge harper on using language correctly.
He loves words.
And she makes a few faux pas,
I don't like words because I'm dyslexic.
so I gotta let those go. Like,
Yes.
I want an example.
Oh my gosh. I'll say something not as specific, and then you will hold me to exactly what I said, and it really drives me nuts.
I do get too literal.
He gets
sometimes.
so literal, and I'm like, whatever, just over there.
I'm very into specificity too, but I'm also not very specific as a person myself. And so I'll be like, the thing over there.
Well, if you're tired,
There's a joke. A programmer's wife
Yes.
says, "Can you pick up a gallon of milk? And if they have eggs, can you get a dozen?" Programmer comes home with a dozen gallons of milk.
exactly. This is
love it.
exactly what, yes.
I love it. And see,
Yes.
this is kind of.
That's perfect. That's a
It
perfect
actually
example.
illustrates
Thank
the programming problem too. But this happens all the time in daily language and speech, and we're trying to talk to each other, and we understand kind of the context for what we're talking about. But like every once in a while, we're like, no, I'm going to stick on this point.
I will sometimes find myself saying things that I would call her out for. So then I will reiterate, like, no, and then I will over explain things.
You guys are totally different people.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
hold on. This is the very first time we're hearing this.
But we're also very similar in ways.
I know
you
you
know?
have the same passions, but you approach them from very different places.
Very different places.
Do you always do that?
Every single time. What is the fastest way somebody's violated their absolute that they've given you?
When they call someone out for using an absolute and then they immediately do it themselves and they don't notice it and they don't take responsibility for it, you know? And
Just like-
I will do that sometimes.
Just like Obi-Wan Kenobi, whose line is literally, "Only Sith speak in absolutes."
Oh.
Deep.
I don't think I understand this. Only Siths speak in absolutes.
Yeah.
So it's an absolute.
It's an absolute.
The word "only"
right.
is an absolute.
Can we list all the absolutes?
Let's all make an absolute declaration right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be really bad at this because I am a putzer. I putz around. Mm-hmm. And I change my mind all the time. Okay.
Well, okay.
You guys can go first.
Amazing. Do you think you will always be a putzer?
Oh.
See, I want to say I will always be a human, but who knows?
Yeah.
No, you won't always be a human for when you die.
Oh, my goodness.
What happens after you die?
So deep.
Does your soul stop being human?
No, I think your soul gets recycled. Oh, I know. I have one.
Do it.
I'll always be creative.
I love that. And then she's sticking her foot up in the air.
That was a win.
She will always be creative. She can't not be, though. And that was a lot of absolutes in a row.
It was.
Let's see. I will always go for the quick laugh. She says as she goes for the quick laugh. Give us an absolute.
I'll never stay the same.
Oh.
This has been an episode of Grumble Goat.
Thanks for listening.
I'm Matt Labatka.
I'm Veronique Hurley. Please subscribe.
I hate when people say please subscribe.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
Math can be finite most of the time, except when it's not.